Hey everybody. So I'm feeling a lot better today. Thanks for asking. I hope everybody out there is feeling pretty good today too. It is Sunday for me. Yeah, literally yesterday I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna call my boss and tell him, I think I might have to miss another day or maybe not have the energy to drive in, but I could work from home or something like that. But I feel pretty good, so I bet you actually, because I actually do enjoy going in there and seeing everybody, and I work in a pretty, we're right next to some really cool buildings, and I get to walk through some pretty cool like places, and I get to quite often see really famous and interesting people. So it's kind of fun to go in there, but it does take a lot of energy. But anyway, so here is my wall, and just kind of wanted to give like sort of another example of a potential use for this tool. So right now what we have is a light that's sort of moving over. I really wish I had elliptical sort of animations, but it kind of starts over here and just moves up, and you can see where the shade is. So like let's say you wanted to build a pool or whatever, and you knew what where the sun is at any given time, you'd be able to tell, okay, how many hours a day uh, sun is my pool going to get during a certain time of year or whatever, based on where the sun is going to be at any given time. Um, so basically, I have a ground and I have a kind of a short wall here. And let's say the camera's sitting at 0, so let's go ahead and move the camera up um, to like 5. I think the wall is like too tall, 2 feet tall, 2 units tall. Um, so now so you see how the light comes in. So the light is starting under the ground, so that's why you get this interesting thing. But you can see how the shadow comes in. So like if you had a pool or something here, you'd be able to, or let's say whatever, you say you have a room and you want to know when light's going to start coming through the window, things like that. It's just could be useful just so you can kind of picture exactly where shadows are going to be at any given time. Um, I guess it might be interesting to make let's see. I think the two meshes are over at 4, and I believe it starts at -2. 2. Let's go ahead and animate it. It's going to be some weird stuff at first, but we'll just match it up. So we have our camera, so we're going to have it start at the 4 and then have it end at the 2, and then we'll go to the Y, -4. So it starts at -4, not -2, and ends at 4. And then the Z, I believe, is probably at 0. Let's see, the light. Z is at 0, so let's go ahead and move the camera over. So basically, we're going to be moving with the sunlight. Um, no, that is not. Oh, I made the Z 40, not 4. So that's what it looks like if you are. Well, that's kind of weird because we're definitely. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think the animation is moving. Okay, something seems to have broken there. -4, and then Z position. Let's start. Oh, we end it at 0. So now we're moving up with the light. So we see nothing because we're below the ground, and then we move up, and then there's our fence. Um, might be a little easier to look at the fence as a. Oh, it's currently up long. I mean, it was currently a basic. Um, so you can kind of see our fence as we kind of hover over the top of it right there. Um, Let's see, I'm going to move the camera back to its original place. I'm going to de-animate it, and I'm going to move it back to a y of 0 and a z of 5. I believe that's where it starts. And then, yeah, I think this is it. So you can kind of see there's a little, I guess the fence isn't quite touching the wall. And I guess it's not very useful to see the fence as a Fong. We could add another little light in the front. See now, I think that gives you a better take of the whole point is how you can see so we could imagine like you have a little like actual physical light here, and then as the sun comes up, there it is. I think that's useful. And if you were like your whole idea was, oh, we make pools or whatever, and we want to be able to sort of give the customer a view of what their pool's gonna be like, and how it's gonna be at like 8 a.m. and then how it's gonna be at like high noon and stuff like that. I think that would be, a useful thing. Now, obviously, like if you start going into like military or construction type things, flight kind of things, and there's all kinds of applications that are, I mean, just endless numbers of applications of this sort of technology. So that is that. So let me go ahead and, okay, so right now everything works. Okay, so what we've done is we've split out this. We need to migrate this scene service into these. We need to split it out. So we want to split out anything that's for Showtime, that's Showtime specific, into this Showtime scene service. And then anything that's 3 specific into this 3 scene service. And I was kind of trying to think, okay, so because the thing is like these projects where I've been making these videos and all that, really more than anything are a big reason that I do them is because I want to sort of have a better, like what happens for most developers, I think, is that most very successful developers, typically what happens is you sort of dip into some other consciousness, and you're like and then you wake up out of it like 2 hours later and you feel amazing, you feel like $1,000,000 and it works. And you've written all this code and you don't quite remember all the little pieces and all the little you have like you build up this massive kind of collection of muscle memories that sort of just all racked, and you're just like full instinct. If you ever played sports and you play basketball and you play with like the same people for a bunch of days in a row, or for over extended time, eventually you can just throw the ball. You know exactly where that guy's going to be because oh, in this situation he always cuts in or he always does that, and you can just throw the ball exactly where he's going to be, and you know that if you put the ball like here for him, he's going to catch it and be able to put it in. But if you put it just slightly out, he's going to catch it and he's going to pass it. And if you put it a little close, he's going to catch it and he's going to shoot, but he's going to miss. You get like all these things, but you don't actually think through them. And there's in the book Sherlock Holmes, the very first book, there's this scene where he goes, "Oh, you were in Afghanistan," and the guy's like, "Oh, how did you know?" And then later on, they actually discuss it because he's just like, "Oh, that's not what we're here to talk about here. We're here to talk about hemoglobin." And it's like he was very excited about this hemoglobin stuff. And the thing is later on, you could tell he's sort of thought through like, how did I know he was from Afghanistan? And he explains that it's easier for me to do it than to explain it. And that happens a lot. And I think almost everybody experiences that with tying your shoes. It's so much easier to tie your shoes than to explain how to tie your shoes. You just have all the muscle memories, your fingers just do the things, and you walk away. And that sort of happens with development. And then me being forced to make these videos and talk through exactly what's happening, is slow as heck, right? It is super, super slow, and it's like super slow motion. B, it's like using a whole different part of my brain that's more like way more human con- consciousness, linguistic based, and much less sort of muscle memory based. Um, so, um, so kind of like now I'm trying to sort of like as I go and I run into these problems, I'm realizing I can't explain them very well and all that. And this is kind of like if you wrote a story, right? Like a narrative story, and you had a character, and the character like maintained the garage and drove, and then like you wrote the whole story and all that, and the story kind of works, but like there's just certain things that are very difficult to put together. So you decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my character, my single character that does these two things, and I'm going to split them into two characters. I'm going to have a guy that or a gal that all they do is all this person, all this individual does is take care of the garage. I have another individual that does nothing but drive. And so I'm taking this one character and split it two. But now you have to go through and you have to figure out, oh, well, when this character did this, like one disadvantage to having this single character is you might have like plot holes where you're like, hey, when they came back to the garage after their adventure, the garage was all organized, even though they trashed it in a hurry to leave. How did it get organized if the person who drives is also the same person that keeps it clean, right? So you got, oh, I have to have two people, right? But then if you do that, there might be things that don't make sense later on, um, like how did the driver guy just know where the wrenches were? You know, all the driver does is drive. He shouldn't have known that information. And you're like, oh, okay, so I have to fix everywhere in the story. That's kind of where we're at now. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So this is a very important time because I know everything works right now. But I also know there are bugs in the system. And so I need to commit right here and right now because this is the last time I know that everything's in a stable place. And then in the future, something might get completely broken. I may not be able to, I may make a run at making this work and have to fail and bail out. And I want to be able to bail out to the last known place where I knew everything was working. That is one of most immediate reason. But the other reason is like maybe 2 weeks from now, something we might run across some kind of bug and be like, man, when did we introduce this bug? And as we go back and try older versions of the application, we know we can determine, is this something that's just been around for like the last 200 videos, or is this something that we introduced at this point? And that can give us clues on what to fix and what not to fix. And if you work in a corporation, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, finger pointing is like an important skill. I hate that, but it's an important skill in jobs. And this is a good point where you go, if someone says, no, that Marty's code broke us when he did that refactor, and now everything's broken. And then you go, hey, I just went back and get, and that problem still exists even if I go before my refactor, you know. And unfortunately, so it kind of protects you. So anyways, I need to take this, and I need to I need to make a commit is all that. And there's a bunch of good reasons why I need to make a commit. So, well, I definitely want to take a quick look and make sure that there's nothing that I just absolutely hate in this commit. I don't think there's anything like too egregious in here. Um, but git add. So I'm just going to add everything from the command line. I could also like hit the little plus button next to all these things too. And now I'm going to say git commit -m, and I like to put the last video that this was in, so that was video 231. And then this created the scene, and I guess I should say creates the scene service and begins splitting. All right, how far are we? We're 15 minutes in. I think that like it's probably going to be at least a 20-minute or 30-minute effort. So probably we're in a good place to start that in tomorrow's video. So anyways, that's where we're going to start. Tomorrow we split the scene character from uh, one individual character, one individual service that handles ThreeJS and Showtime to two services. And it's going to be tricky, and I would say I got about a 50% chance of being successful the first time. Um, every time, if it's not successful, it's important to kind of pay attention, because there's a good chance that you'll be like, oh, okay, that's where I messed up. Then when you undo all your when you blast your changes and you give it the next, you try it again, your chances go up. I would say if after like 4 or 5 efforts go up, then it's still messed up, then we got serious problems, and we're have to just completely rethink this idea. Um, anyways, yeah, hopefully that goes well, and then we can add fog. Anyways, happy coding, everybody, and bye.